every time an administration changes, the SBA changes as well. It's just what happens. There's in the SBA, for those that don't know, Small Business Administration, it has is required to work with small businesses to cultivate our local communities and help economic growth and stability. Like that's what SBA does. And what ends up happening with every administration change by someone, I used to write government contracts, and we're going to talk a bit about that because I have a very deep understanding of how the SBA works, and it's the good, bad, and the indifferent with it. That every time a new administration comes, everyone in government just, oh, okay, what do we got to do now? Because it's not that that they disagree or agree or whatever. It's just that it changes. And now we have to re-educate an entire pool of entrepreneurs about, hey, I know last week, this is what the standard was. Now this week, this is what the standard is. So we're going to take a look at that, especially how it affects entrepreneurs and small business owners, because the article we're going to cover from Inc.com today goes in depth-ish about the one aspect of the SBA program that they have. It's called Community Advantage. It's meant to go to areas that are disadvantaged. They have different names that go across depending on what type of government you're in, but they're disadvantaged areas. And I live and work in one here in rural Michigan. We qualify for a bunch of stuff because we are in an impoverished area. So that's why I work with clients who are in this world. So this absolutely affects folks in my area of Michigan, but around the country as well. So I got with my Claude. We put together some infographics. We're going to talk all about it today, but really I'm going to let you know that for those of you who are entrepreneurs who are getting ready to look at businesses, to go to the SBA to qualify for loans, things just tightened up a little bit. And it's because of folks who got loans that probably shouldn't have in the previous administration. That's the TLDR. And now you are, and my clients and potential clients are all having to deal with the repercussions. So for those that don't know, my name is Ryan Howe. I'm a business coach who works out of West Michigan and around the country. I come here live on YouTube pretty consistently every single day, sharing information I share with my clients, and I hope to earn your subscription today. So let's get into it here. So we are on Inc.com. Link is going to be in the description. There's going to be links for this, plus the actual press release from the SBA. Be sure to go check these out. All right, folks do a really good job on these articles. We want to make sure you get their clicks. Okay, SBA hits the brakes on Community Advantage Loan Program. For a lot of folks don't know what that is. We're going to get into that in a second, along with the changes. So, and it serves underserved founders. And again, they're citing the elevated default rate, which always cracks me up when it comes to the government and the SBA, right? Because, the loans are going up, yet they can burn billions of dollars on a broadband initiative that hasn't done anything. Yet we're worried about a default rate in a couple $100 million, right? It's government math. It just drives me nuts, and priorities. Okay, so the SBA is no longer allowing new lenders into its Community Advantage Loan Program, and will up the ante for existing lenders by requiring them to expand their capital reserves. So real quick, what that means is they let in a whole bunch of banks and financial institutions that should not have been lending. And in addition to qualify for it, in addition to that, they are going to require the lenders that are currently there to basically they have to have more money in the bank. Like that's what has to happen here. That in order to give more loans. So they're upping the requirements. That's what's happening. All right. So anyways, and what that's going to affect other things as far as lending. Now, the agency on Monday said it was overhauling the Community Advantage Small Business Lending Company Program, an initiative designed to expand access to capital for those in underserved areas by working with mission-driven leaders. The program focuses on new companies, in addition to women-owned small businesses, minority-owned small businesses, and veteran-owned small businesses. Now, real quick, we get into that. Those are called set-asides in government parlance, right? There's a whole group of them there, but those are like the big three in the set-aside world. And there are requirements by Congress every year to government agencies and the SBA to meet certain percentages and dollar amounts of government funding that has to go to certain set-asides, i.e. a certain percentage / dollar amount has to go to women-owned small business. Not like mandated, but the agencies are measured against that metric. 24% has to go to women-owned small businesses. I'm just pulling stuff out of the air right now. Minority-owned, 40%, and then veteran-owned is going to be like 10%, whatever. And they're measured against that, okay? So that's one of the things that I just want you to understand. Like, this is from Congress. This is a normal aspect of government work where they have these set-asides. This has been going on for decades. This isn't a new thing. Now, the the CA's program loan portfolio is disproportionately stressed. And when you talk about financial world, stressed means default rate. What's the default rate? And currently it's at 7%, which is ridiculous. Like, that is a very, very ridiculous number of that level of default. Typical default rates are much lower in the single digit world, like for healthy. Like, you expect there to be under 1%, between maybe 1.5%, and that's a problem. We're at 7%, which means lending standards were way out of whack. The money was just getting given out. And they're also seeing early problem loan rates exceed 30%. So that means default is one thing, late payments is where you're talking about early problem loan rates. Okay, so that's the other asset. So we're across the board, Community Advantage has got all sorts of problems showing up. And that's what they're trying to get that under control. Perfect example of how the last administration, what they did is they say, hey, we want to lend, we want to make sure that there's qualify more lenders and allow those lenders to not have as much money available so that they can lend more to these set-asides, right? These disadvantaged areas, as they're calling them. The other side is that they selectively certified groups like Progress Fund and the Black Business Investment Fund. Like, these are identified as higher rates of defaults and where the early problem loan rates are high, right? So they're really nailed down on this thing, say this is an issue. And again, these are just the numbers, folks, that they're saying this can't go on because it's going to put the rest of the pool at risk that they have. And we're going to get into what I mean by that as well, because there is some things that we want to talk about as well, because end of the day, the SBA is there to help businesses be successful. And one of the best ways that you can help businesses be successful is by making sure that people don't get business loans they shouldn't get. Like, want their business plans to be better, etc. Okay. So with this, in response from the Progress Fund, disappointingly, the SBA statements about us were false, and rather than praise us for the small business lending we do throughout rural Pennsylvania and West Virginia, they named us as a target for the administration's disdain of lending support for environmental projects undertaken by small business owners. Okay, now the CA loan program was first introduced, it's 2011. This has been around forever. It's, again, with just 5 lenders, but it's expanded quite a bit. And here's the thing, we're not talking like a huge program, but this is an underlying thing, because in order to qualify for an underserved area, man, you got to be broke. You got to be poor. Like my area, I got areas that we got no monies, right? I mean, we are net negative on the state of Michigan in where I'm at. And we have a lot of folks that qualify, our areas that qualify for this. So between 2011 to 2023, underwrote 8,248 loans for about $1 billion. It's not a huge program, but here's the deal. And this is what I want to be able to chat about before we get into the infographics to learn a little bit more. What starts at the smaller SBA, basic loan programs always expands to the larger ones. All right. They've already restricted some at the larger SBA piece. They're going to take a look at this smaller one as a test bed, because I guarantee you they found one, say, let's test this and see what happens. And they're going to expand it out to the other areas. That's why I'm, for those folks that are looking to get a loan here, through the SBA, your options just got reduced a bit, but it doesn't mean that they're gone. And that's what we're going to kind of take a look at here right now. So I went to Claude and I was like, yo, Claude, let's make some interactive stuff here so folks can learn a little bit more about this Community Advantage program here. So I've got, let me make sure here. So let's get with here. Like, this is the overall what it means, right? So this is from Claude. Y'all ain't in Claude, man. Y'all missing out. This thing's great. So loan amounts up to 250,000. So that's reduced, and we're gonna look at that. Interest rates are lower than conventional bank loans, and then again, underserved communities. And this is what the program's for. Rural areas, low-income neighborhoods, and veteran-owned businesses. It's one of my favorite things. Veterans are always thrown in with with an underserved community. Little like inside baseball here. There are more programs for veteran-owned businesses to help veterans than there are for the women-owned businesses, which is also a monster industry as well. So like there's plenty out there. I love the fact they always say underserved. So eligibility to talk about here. The biggest thing is they got a size. Again, it needs to be small. You can learn all about those things. But this is the piece here where it must be located or serve an underserved community. Those are typically referred to as hub zones, historically underutilized business zone. You want to, and when you talk to the SBA for a loan, folks, if you got a business, they'll help. They're going to find it for you. They're going to say, you want to open here? Cool. You qualify for X, Y, and Z. Ooh, you're in a hub zone. You also get this, which is going to be either a lower capital amount you need to bring or reduced interest. Like there's all these things. Credit score 640, down payment. They're bringing the old 10% back at least. That had been waived for a while where you didn't have as much skin in the game, if any. Now they're bringing it back again. So again, to qualify these, you got to already be in operation for a couple of years, and then cash flow. If you don't understand cash flows, well, to go to talk to the SBA, you're going to have to test, and they are increasing those things. Again, this is my area where I live at here. Mason Lake, Manistee, Oceana counties qualify as underserved communities, making local businesses ideal candidates for the program. Again, if you are a business owner in West Michigan or around the country, and you're interested in learning about working with me and what I do, go to summitbusinessguides.com. I'll throw a link in the description there. It'll be a link to my value builder assessment that'll kind of let you know, like, hey, here's what I have for a business. Here's what I need to work on. And then, if interested, we'll have a conversation and see what we can do to get working together. So again, I'll have a link in the description. You want to go check that out. So let's take a look at this other piece here. What changed? So the Community Advantage Program. Major policy changes under the Trump administration, effective now. And again, this is all through Claude. I said, let's go and just do this for me. So they lifted a 4-year lender moratorium. So there was, from the previous administration, they're like, hey, no new lenders. We're already having issues with the number of people who are having defaults. Like this happened before. So the Trump administration previously, we're going to cut that off. They increased the amount of the loan up to $350,000. This is under Biden. Relaxed collateral and underwriting, which, ladies and gentlemen, every time you hear relaxed collateral and underwriting, prepare for defaults to go up. Prepare for loan repayment issues to go up. And we're going to get into that why that is after this. And they remove the criminal background restrictions. I don't know fully what that is, but there's a lot too, and I think that has to do with the release program and other stuff that they typically tend to do. Like, yo, you've done your time, whoever it happens to be. We don't want this to keep you from being able to go after a business opportunity. Okay, so I think that was one of the things, and you saw that a lot. So Trump era. So no new lenders approved. They have locked it down. No more new folks. They're probably going to end up cutting. I bet you they're going to cull by naturally, and I imagine 30 to 40% of lenders are going to come off of the rolls. Just they're going to have to reduce them. Stricter financial stability requirements, and then performance and risk management, and then U.S. citizens only requirement. And I had no idea that there was a citizenship test, or there wasn't one. That's new to me. So, okay, so what am I advising my clients on with this here? One, that as with everything in a higher interest rate environment, right? That's where we're currently at. Expect there to be more restrictions on lending. So you need to have your financial house in order. That's the first piece. And I work with my clients. It's one of the things that we spend. That's like the second conversation after, hey, how are you? Okay, let's look at the books, because if the finances aren't right, as far as an order, and you have an understanding of what your risk is at and everything else within the books, it is very difficult to have a conversation with a lender. Like that's one of the reasons we spend time on that. We want to, or even know what we can invest in. Do we need money? Right. So you got to get the finances here. So that's first and foremost. We always want to make sure the finances are. Second, any expansion, or if there's a new business line you're going after, or whatever that looks like, and this goes for anyone, you need to treat it as if it is a new business. So create an entire business plan for any new thing that you have. And what's great about our Claude, Chat GPT, and all of them, guess what they do? They're going to help you write your business plan. And if you have a paid service for Claude, Chat GPT, or whatever, depending on how much you trust the big companies there, I mean, they're going to get your info anyways. You can put your financial data in there and let it help you put your, basically your entire plan together, with the idea that you're going to go to the Small Business Administration. It'll already help you with all those things. So please use those. And if you're not sure how to do that, again, reach out. That's one of the things I help my clients with, understanding how to use these large language models effectively. The other piece that I'm talking to my clients about as well, and this is from the entrepreneurs that are out there, get used to no. Like, at the end of the day, lenders are going to be saying no for the foreseeable future. And it has to do with there is rising defaults across the board, and there are rising early signs of trouble throughout the lending sphere. It's there. You can just see it in the numbers. That doesn't mean a recession's coming. That doesn't mean that the world's coming to an end. It just means that there's a whole bunch of people who are, it's a healthy percentage of individuals out there in the world who are over levered. They've got too much debt, and we're going to have to go through a cycle of defaults and reduce spending for some folks, and just some tough decisions are going to happen. So if you are a business and you don't have your financials in order, you don't have a good business plan, don't expect to go to the Small Business Administration or any lender. You go to your lender and it's through the SBA, but you know where I mean on that. Go to a lender and expect them to be willing to extend credit to you. Just don't expect that to be the thing, because the collateral requirements have changed for the banks, and it's changed for the individual who is coming for the loan. You want, let's say you want to get a maximum loan of $350,000. You are going to have to bring somewhere around $35,000 to $42,000 with you. That's what's going to happen up front to even have the conversation about getting a loan. Okay. So that's the big change here, folks, that they are tightening lending requirements. That is going to cause some issues within these underserved areas, like in my market, but with proper planning, you can be prepared and get after these things. So again, for those that, for those that are interested in learning more about how I help businesses grow faster than ever thought possible, and I help create businesses that have value that buyers want to purchase, check me out at summitbusinessguys.com. Again, there's a link in the description if you're interested in having your business valuation done through the Value Builder assessment that I use. Again, so I appreciate y'all hanging out here. Hopefully I earned your subscription today. Take care, and I will see you next time.